Right. Hi, everybody that's just joining us. We'll just give it a couple of seconds for more people to join us as well, and then we'll get started for today's presentation. Right. I think we've got everybody with us. Thank you all for attending this presentation today on studying in the UK. My name is Martin Spies, and I'm here with my colleague Sabine Hinscher-Rożek. We're both based in Berlin at the British Council, and between us, we've got many, many years of advising students who want to go and study in the UK, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some much needed information in this session today. So for those of you who do not know the British Council is the UK's cultural relations organisation. We work internationally in about 100 countries worldwide where we have offices, and we do everything from working in the arts, supporting UK artists coming to those countries and showcasing their work, to English language teaching and also English language exams, but also education, which Study UK is a part of. And you'll be hearing a lot about studying in the UK today. So what are we going to look at today? So we've got an hour. So we thought we'll take you through some important points first, and then after that you can ask all the questions you might have, and you can also put them in the questions box while we're talking as they come up, and then we'll get to them after we finished with the presentation. So first of all, we're going to talk about why studying in the UK is a good idea, and why it's a benefit for people to have a UK degree, and what's so great about studying in the UK, really. And then once we've won you over, we'll talk about the undergraduate application process and how that works. And my colleague Sabine here has many years of experience of advising students with doing that and how the process works. And then also we'll get into the question of visas, which are now an eventuality for anyone wanting to come and study in the UK. And we'll also be able to talk a little bit about costs and financial assistance that's available. And then after that, like I say, we'll have time to answer some of your questions. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to my colleague Sabine, who'll get us started.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining this session on studying in the UK. As Martin already mentioned, I want to talk a little bit of why should you study in the UK. I mean, obviously we could name hundreds of reasons, and I would like to touch on a few. It's there are many aspects which speak for the UK as a study destination. One of it is, for instance, is the teaching style at UK universities, which differ often from other countries. The teaching style meaning that you will be taught in small groups most of the time. There are tutorials, there are seminars, there's laboratory work, which means that the groups won't be or can't be very large. So you have really intensive work opportunities. There are lectures, as you might know or heard of from other countries, but you have them in the UK as well, where we have many people sitting together and listening to a professor giving an introduction into the subject. But these are the exceptions. Most of the teaching will be in more smaller groups, and which guarantees a really intensive learning experience. Also, what is very typical for UK higher education is that you are encouraged to form your own point of view, to take part in discussions, have critical reflections, and you will be challenged by your professors. But you can't really sit at the back of the group and just listen. You will be kind of forced into joining the discussion and be part of the learning group. So this is a real wonderful experience, I think, and which is completely different to, or very often different to, teaching at other universities. Then also what's really different in UK universities, you get a lot of personal academic support from the staff. You are not a number, you are a person, you are the student, and the staff really is trying to help you, to support you with whatever problems you might have academically. But also, and this is called the famous so-called pastoral care, they also try to help you with when you have personal problems or language problems. There are a lot of colleagues who will look after you if you need the support. And this is available basically at every university. And then also what you have there are many research opportunities. You have networking, building events. The academic community supports you in every way they can. So you have a really international and excellent learning experience at the university. One thing is the teaching and the learning. Also important is the free time you have, and you still have free time, even if you really have to learn and study hard. And this is very important that you enjoy this free time. There are many university societies. At each university, you will be astonished of the range of societies you have and you can choose from, and the universities encourage you to take part in these societies and take on responsibilities and be part of the academic and university community or family. One could call it a family as well, because this is a how shall I say it? It's a great community, and you should be part of it and not just sit back in your study and learn and sit in the library. You are really encouraged to take part in university life. As I mentioned, there's a strong sense of community, and this is not only within the university, but also what you are encouraged is that you communicate with the local community, and there are usually at each universities there is charity work that links to the local community, and like charity runs or similar activities, so that you are not really separate from the locals. So you engage with the community, and this helps to build a good cooperation with the town or the city the university is placed in. What else can you find? And at British universities, you have in general excellent equipped libraries, which is really important because you will need them a lot, and they are often available 24/7. So when you feel like doing your essay, writing your essay at 11 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning, feel free. You just go there and can sit in the library and work in peace and quiet. If you're a night worker, for others, they might prefer the day, but you have the opportunity, and this is really the good thing, that Libraries are open most hours of the day and during the week. British universities tend to be really well equipped, latest up to state-of-the-art technologies, laboratories fitted to the latest standards. So this is also something that it triggers, sorry, not triggers, that should be considered, because not in all countries you find this standard of equipment and technology at universities. As mentioned here, global renowned academic reputation. I'm coming to that on the next slide. Maybe Martin, you can go on the next slide, is that the universities in the UK are renowned, and it is for decades, or as long as rankings exist, that UK universities really feature high in those world rankings. And currently, so to speak, 21, there are 2 UK universities in the top 10 and 7 in the top 50, which is quite amazing. And that speaks for the universities, because this has been the case for many, many years. And so I'd say it's a really very attractive destination to study in the UK. Also, to maintain these top rankings and the quality of the higher education system, the UK operates various quality assurance systems. One is called the Quality Assurance System, and also they operate the Teaching Excellence Framework and the Research Excellence Framework. These systems are all geared at keeping the standards high and offering the best possible education for students at UK universities. Another quite new opportunity and quite attractive, we think, is the Turing scheme, which you will have access to when you study in the UK and you're studying for a bachelor's degree. You can apply for studying abroad. So you could go to another country for a semester or maybe for a year. Not only when you're studying languages, but also in other subjects. You can go to the States, you can just go to Spain or Germany or other countries. And this scheme is not only open for UK nationals, but for all nationalities worldwide. So this is quite new, and we think it's a really attractive chance for students not only to get a UK degree, but also study in other countries somewhere in the world. Martin, next slide, please. Just to give you an idea about the university landscape, the UK, you can group the universities. There are about 140 higher education institutions in the UK, and you can roughly group them into 5 groups, which are one is the classical or ancient universities. Most of the people know them: Oxford, Cambridge, St Andrews, Glasgow, and Aberdeen. Centuries old and well established. And then there was sort of a university founding era in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. With industrialization, the so-called red brick universities were founded. Examples are Birmingham, Bristol, and Manchester. And then again, in the 60s and 70s, another sort of founding area brought in the campus universities like York, Nottingham, Loughborough, and many more. Kind of a completely different setup. But a lot of people really enjoy living on and studying on a campus university. And then the last, not actually the last group, but one of the also big group are the so-called new universities, which, as they were, came into existence in the 1992. They're not really that new, but in comparison to the classical universities, they still are. They used to be polytechnics. That means that they were sort of specializing in a certain area, range of subjects. And in 1992, they were permitted to rename themselves universities. And in the beginning, they still kind of only offered the subjects they had been offering as polytechnics, but these days most of them are fully fledged universities, and you can study basically any subject there. So it's they're equal to all the other universities in the range of subjects they have, and the quality they offer. And last but not least, a very special group. These are the colleges of art and design, royal academies, colleges of drama and music, which, as I said, form a very particular group of higher education institution, just concentrating on a very limited range of subjects. So this is just to give you a rough idea of the landscape. So you are thinking of choosing a course at a UK university, which is great. So what should you look out for? First of all, and probably the most important advice is choose a course that fits you. Don't choose a city. We usually get so many inquiries which say, oh, I want to study in London. Studying in London, I'm sure, is great, but there are so many institutions spread across the UK that you really should ignore the city first. Go research intensively and try to find the course that you will enjoy. And this is probably the most important advice we can give. Look at the websites of the universities. They are usually quite detailed descriptions of the various courses. Be aware that when courses have a certain name, a certain title, and you find this course name at 25 other universities, this doesn't necessarily mean that the course content is the same. So you really have to dig deep to find out what is the focus of this course, and to be sure that, or to make sure that this is a course you would enjoy. That is really, really important. Don't just go by the title of the course. Speak to the department. The admission tutors will be happy to advise you, explain to you where the focus is, also what the assessment methods are. This might also be a reason for you to maybe rather go for one course than for another, because assessments methods vary. These can be ongoing during your course, or will be basically an examination at the end of the course. For some people, one examination at the end, that's fine, that's super. Others rather like to do coursework and add up their points, and then also still write an examination, but kind of the success of the course won't necessarily be dependent just on this one examination. So this is also one aspect you should investigate. For instance, what are the assessment methods? What is the course design? Also, the relationship between contact time and self-study. This also can vary quite a bit at the universities. For some courses, you have just quite a small number of contact hours with your lecturers or your tutors, and there's a lot of self-study you have to do during the course of the week, which is fine for a lot of people. Others rather would like to have more contact hours. So have a look at the detailed description of the course and see what would be best for you. This is also advice, I think, that can help you to find the right course for you. What else can I mention? Yeah, scholarships, of course, availability of scholarships. There are scholarships at most universities. Not all of them are available for all students and not for all courses. On the other hand, there are scholarships just maybe available at a particular department or a particular faculty. So it's always worth, when you make contact with the university, to check out whether they have any scholarships available. Maybe even if they are small scholarships, but every little bit helps to finance your studies. So I would suggest that you have a look on the websites as well. Very often these scholarships are advertised there. If not, it doesn't do any harm to ask the faculty admission tutor whether any help would be available, financial help. I think that's probably what I can mention here. Then we come to the application process. For undergraduate studies, this is centrally handled by the Universities and Colleges Admission Service, UCAS. You need to register with UCAS and you fill out your application form online. We have, or UCAS has 3 deadlines, main deadlines, which is if you want to study anything to do with medicine, veterinary medicine, dentistry, the deadline is the 15th of October in the year before you take up your studies. So for this year, it means if you want to apply for medicine, you can have to apply by the 15th of October of this year, and you would start your course in September of 23. If you, and the same application deadline is valid for all courses in Oxford or Cambridge. So you can only apply to one of the universities, either Oxford or Cambridge. You can not apply to both. Even if you're a top student, you have to decide it's either Oxford or Cambridge. And it's also the 15th of October is the deadline. For all other courses and all other universities, it is the 15th of January 23 if you want to take up your studies in September 23. And the third important deadline is the 30th of June, which is the official end of the application period. You still can apply between January and June, but then you are considered as a late applicant, which means you still might have a chance to find a place, but the universities are not obliged to consider your application or even to look at it at all. So then it's usually best, should you have missed the deadline of 15th of January, contact the universities and say you're interested in a particular course. if there's still if they would say there's still a chance that you could apply, and if they say yes, then just go ahead. But January, you should really try hard to meet the 15th of January to that you have all chances of being considered for the course you're interested in. Yeah, applications are possible for up to 5 courses. With your application, you have to write a personal statement. You have to put down really why you want to do this subject and what the universities want to see, the admission tutors want to see, that you're really burning for the subject, that you're really committed, that you already have investigated in this subject, maybe even have some practical experience. Like if you want to study law, that you have already did an internship in a law practice, or at court, or whatever. So there are many students applying, and the personal statement is really the chance for you to say, I'm committed for this subject, and I've already done 1, 2, 3, 4 things that I've made myself familiar with, what I can do, what I can work on later in what career I can maybe choose, but that you already know something about the subject. If you're not sure yet, really, maybe you have 2 or 3 subjects you're interested in, on the UCAS website you find subject guides which give a good introduction on every subject, and also on career options that are available. So this is really a good a point of research, that you look at the UCAS website and on these subject, read these subject guides. It's quite informative and might help you to find, then make your decision for the right subject. You write a personal statement, and one of your teachers or schools counselors will have to write a reference for you. And as you are all from here in the session, you're all from international schools, so you can speak to your counselor, and they will be able to advise you and how how to go about it, which teacher maybe to contact, and they will be able to help you with this with the reference. Yeah, Martin, I think.
Yep, I'll take over from here. Yep, thank you, Sabine. I'll carry on with an overview of a visa. So as Sabine said, UK institutions, higher education institutions and universities are very, very international. So you'll find very international communities on campus. And so Sabine, would you mind muting yourself, actually? Thank you.
Just let me...
Thank you. So they are very international environments, which means that there'll be people from all over the world, so they're a great place to make friends from all over, really. But in order to get to the UK and study in the UK, most people and most international students will need a visa, unless, of course, they're British citizens. And if you've got any questions about that, so if you're a British citizen yourself, we can come to that later, or you can come and see us in the booth. So everything I'm explaining now extends to people who aren't either a British or Irish citizen. So anyone coming to the UK wanting to study only for a semester abroad, for example, so that's up to 6 months, if they're EU citizens, they will not require a visa. They can enter the UK on what's called the visitor route. Non-EU citizens will require a standard visitor visa to come and study in the UK for up to 6 months. If you, however, want to do a full degree in the UK, so you want to do your bachelor's in the UK or later on your master's, anything over 6 months in length, you'll have to apply for a student visa. The process is very, very straightforward and easy to do, actually. We'll come to that on the next slide. So don't fret. That's not a big issue. Most people, there's over hundreds of thousands of visa applications being processed in the UK every year for students, so it really isn't a big deal. It's just something that you need to be aware of and plan into your timelines, so that you know what to do when. The same applies to postgraduate study. So if you want to go and study for a master's degree, which probably doesn't apply to you guys yet, then you'd also need a student visa. And after your studies, if you want to stay in the UK and look for work or work in the UK, you can do that as well. There's a graduate visa which allows you to stay for up to 2 years in the UK to look for work in the UK or to start working in the UK in your first graduate job. So the student visa for stays in the UK over 6 months in length for the purpose of study, it's really easily done. You do an identity check through a mobile phone app that you can do on your smartphone, and the applications are usually processed within 15 days. There is a fast track for people who need it earlier than that, but that comes at an extra cost. However, 15 working days is still pretty quick in most cases and sufficient. Visas can be applied for up to 6 months before they are required. So say you want to start in September, you could start applying for your visa in March, which is, provided you've already got your confirmation of acceptance of studies from your UK university that you applied to, which in most cases you won't have in March. So that's just, theoretically, basically. But as they are processed so quickly, applying later is also fine, as long as it's been processed before you enter the UK. You can work during term time, and that's possible for up to 20 hours a week on your student visa. So that's something that's good to know as well. And you can find a job on campus or off campus. That's all possible. The visa itself costs £348 currently. And on top of that, you'll have to pay the immigration health surcharge of £470 per year. And that is so that you can access what's called the National Health Service in the UK, which means that you can have all treatments, or most treatments, dentistry is usually excluded, but most treatments free of charge as part of the National Health Service, just like any other person living in the UK. And this surcharge can be refunded if you do not work during your stay in the UK, and if you hold what's called a European health insurance card. Usually every EU citizen has one of those if they are insured over the National Health Service in their country. So that's something to check out if you want a refund on those £470 per year. Like I said, there's also the graduate visa option now for students who wish to stay and work in the UK after their studies. It's possible to work at any level or look for work on this visa, and you can stay up to 2 years after your bachelor's or master's degree, and up to 3 years if you've, further down the line are looking at doing a PhD. The costs for that are £700 for the visa application, and then also the immigration health surcharge, which is a little bit higher than it is for students. Now, this won't apply to most of you on today's webinar, but just in case, because it won't apply because you're studying at international schools and are either doing your IB there, or your main language of instruction at your school is English. And then most universities will not want you to do a separate language test, but if they do, then you should know that the British Council has you covered, as we're offering the IELTS International English Language Testing System in over 12 locations in Germany currently, and it's recognized by all British universities as well as other universities around the world. So if you're looking to apply to the UK and the US, for example, you'll be covered. But like I say, that probably won't apply to most of you. But if you need more information on that, should the eventuality arise, then please come and talk to us at the British Council or visit our website. Now, costs. You've heard all about from Sabina how studying in the UK is a good idea because of the quality of teaching, the worldwide recognition of your degree that you're going to be doing, that you're going to be getting after your studies, the international campus atmosphere, and the all-around great time that you'll have. But of course, as you will probably know, studying in the UK comes with fees, and the fees and the amount of fees that you'll have to pay will be dependent on the university, also often the location of that university, and the subject, as well as your level of study, by which we mean, is it a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? Sabina's already touched a little bit on location and how prices can differ, not just cost of living, but tuition fees as well can differ depending on where you are in the country. But the subject is important as well. So, for example, any medical subjects will often be more expensive than any of the other subjects because of the amount of lab work that goes in to a medical degree and things like that. So that's something to bear in mind. In general, as a rule of thumb, you can expect to pay between 10,000 and 26, which really is the upper end of tuition fees, and we're talking about postgraduate studies at Oxford, most likely here. For most, 10 to 26,000 pounds per year for most subjects. But like I said, courses for the medical professions can also be more. If you're thinking of studying somewhere else, maybe in Germany or the Netherlands or the US, but you want to come to the UK for a semester, there's either the way of looking at study abroad programs at the university you're at, or you can do study trips abroad that you organize yourself, and then you'll also have to pay fees, and you'll pay those pro rata, i.e. if you only come for one semester, you only pay for one semester, not for the whole year. On top of the tuition fees, as we've said, you will also have to consider the student visa and possibly the immigration health surcharge, which, like I said, can be reimbursed if you do not work during your time in the UK. Another big factor, of course, is your cost of living. And again, that's dependent on your location, the location that you'll be studying in, your lifestyle, and your choice of housing. We'll come to housing in a little bit, but lifestyle, that really means, are you a person, for example, who likes to go out a lot? Then obviously that'll be more expensive than if you're someone who enjoys a night in with a board game. That's usually not as expensive as going to a club or a bar, obviously. So if you go out 5 nights a week, then that'll be more expensive than if you only do it once a month, and so on and so forth. Another thing, of course, is your food budget. If you follow a special diet, that might be more expensive, and so on. As a rough, and I'm stressing, can't stress that enough, a rough guide from us, a really rough guide, we're looking at £9,500 for an academic year, and an academic year is 9 months. So that's a rough kind of guide there for you. But like I say, it can be really, really different depending on circumstances. And like I say, we'll come to housing, but basically what we mean by that is there's different housing options at universities in the UK, and they'll come at a different price point. So to help you with possibly financial support, one thing to look at if you're only going for up to a year, so that's not applicable if you go for a whole degree, but is to look at Auslands BAföG, and you can look that up on our website as well. I'll give you the URL later on. The BAföG in Hanover is responsible for anything to do with the UK. Another great source is the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. They have a great database of scholarships that are available, especially for people going from Germany, not just to the UK, but actually to all corners of the world. But it's always worth looking at what they have on offer. Another thing for anyone who has done the IELTS language test is that the British Council has the IELTS Award, which can award up to £10,000 every year. Again, you'll find information on that on our website. And one thing that many British universities are currently still doing is offering scholarships for EU citizens, and you should ask them. Well, they'll either publish them on their websites when you look for your courses, or you can go and ask them if that's something they offer. So basically, this is something for the what many universities still consider the transition period after the UK's exit from the European Union. And what they do is they bring down the level of fees, or help towards bringing down the level of fees to what they would have been before the UK's exit. And some universities are still able to offer that. Not all of them, so it's also worth looking out. So, like Sabine said earlier, it's worth shopping around almost for universities which have good scholarship offers. And some of them will have EU scholarships, like I say. Another thing is the Tithe and Saltire scholarships. So if you're looking to go to a particular part of the constituent part of the UK, so the Saltire scholarships, as the name suggests, help any postgraduate students in Scotland. And then Tithe is for anyone looking at studying in Wales. And these scholarships are available at undergraduate and postgraduate level. So even if you're for somebody in your position who are looking to go for a bachelor's, if Wales is a viable option for you, then you should definitely look at the Tithe scholarships. And for further financial support options and information on those, you can always come to our website. It's available in German and English, and you'll find the link just there, or you'll just go to britishcouncil.de and then find your way through. Study UK is one of the very prominent tabs on there. Now, we said we want to talk about different housing options. So in general, and this might again differ from location or university to university. So in general, the housing options that are available to you are halls of residences, halls of residence, which are run by the university for their students, where you usually share a kitchen and a communal space with between 4 and 8 other students. Everybody has their own room. Some of them can be en suite. Others also share bathroom facilities. They're really, really different. Down there in the picture, you see what something like that could typically look like. And it's the same with shared apartments or houses. They work towards a similar model. Often, the university accommodation can also include meal plans, so you can then choose whether you want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided by the university, or either of those, or different combinations are possible, just breakfast and lunch, or just breakfast and dinner, and so on and so forth. And you pay for that as well. So that helps with not having to cook for yourself if you don't want to or can't do that. But likewise, if you're if that's something you want to do, most of those halls of residence, like I say, have a shared kitchen where you can prepare your own meals. There are also private student halls of residence springing up in a lot of the bigger UK university cities and towns nowadays. So they're essentially like the university-run halls of residence, but run by private enterprises. They are often a little bit more expensive than what the university can offer, but also might have a more up-to-date or newer standard of living. They might have Wi-Fi included in the bills and whatever. So that's also another option, especially if the university-run halls of residence are full, or so on and so forth. Most universities, by the way, will guarantee what are called freshers, first-year students in the UK, a place in a university-run hall, in the university-run halls of residence, so that you don't have to worry about accommodation. In other places, it's different. Like I say, again, it depends on your university. And then there's also obviously the option of going private and just renting an apartment with friends, or rooms, in a flat share. All of these are options. So private landlords, the private landlord market is open to you as well. Some universities will have good connections with private landlords in their local area, and will be able to put you in touch for sometimes also offering better rates and so on. So again, that's something to really check with your university once you've decided for one and are accepted. The following website by UKISA, the UK Council for International Student Affairs, is really, really helpful in that, because they list all of the different options and also what to look out for. One thing to look out for example, if you're sharing with other people, is council tax, because students don't pay council tax, but as long as one person in the flat share isn't a student, the whole flat pays council tax and are liable for council tax. So that's just a good tip to keep an eye out for. Also, as the British Council, we've just had our own event in the last couple of weeks. Some of you might have spotted that or seen it or attended it. And that's just to say that we have a host of webinars available on the website there for you on specific subjects as well that you can study in the UK, where UK universities present on many different subjects. So if you're undecided which subject to go for, you can just have a little look and see, watch a presentation about the specific subjects that you're interested in, and maybe just get a little bit of a better flavor for them. It's also available on there. So if you go on the side there and click on webinars, there you'll see the subject-specific webinars. The first week was all about undergraduate subjects, the most important for you, of course. And then if you go to a tab called past webinars, there's also more subjects on stuff like how to apply. There's a really in-depth, more than we could cover today in the time here, an in-depth 1 hour webinar on how to apply. There's one on financing and student discounts, which might also be interesting. And there's many more about writing your personal statement, for example, and things like that. So you'll find really good tips there as well. And I think with that, I thank you for your attention, and we can come to questions. But what I'll also do is I'll give you a list of further information. So all of these links are really good links to start from, to give you more information, give you good first tips on where to look further. And if you ever have any question, either my colleague Sabina or our other colleagues in the Study UK team, or indeed myself, will be available at the email address that you can find at the bottom. So if there's anything that you can only think of later in terms of questions, not today, then you can always email us. And if you also want to come and visit us at our booth and have a little chat later on, we'll be available for that as well. So I can see we've got the first question there from Xander. Is UCAS necessary for those applying from an IB school? And the quick answer to that is yes. Anyone applying to a UK university has to go through UCAS. But on the UCAS system, there'll be facilities to enter your IB grades and everything. So that's a standard across the world, so that you won't have any issue with UCAS because of that. But yeah, the quick answer is yes. I don't know, Sabina, have you got anything else to say to that?
Sorry, I was still on mute. No, yeah, I think you covered it all. Just wanted to mention, Martin, I can't see the questions. I don't know.
That's all right. I'll read them out.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't got any other questions right now, but people might be busy typing. So yeah, if you've got any other questions, just put them in the questions box there, and we'll answer them. Try and answer them. Oh, here's another one. So I won't have to take any additional testing in addition to my IB exams. That depends. So if you're applying at Oxford or Cambridge, or sometimes other universities as well, I think Durham sometimes does it, you might be called for an interview. But other than that, there's no, well, and then obviously if you want to do medicine, you might have to do a medical test, like a GMAT or something. Sometimes for certain business studies, there might also be additional tests required. The best way to find out about that is to talk to the universities or find out from their website, because it will say quite specifically what the course requirements are. But in general, the answer is no. For some subjects, again, like medicine, you might have to have done certain courses on the IB. So biology, for example, is an obvious one. But so generally no, but it depends on the subject. Okay. let's see. How does the quality assurance system TEF and REF work? How do they assess standards? So they've got quite a rigid. So if you're really interested in that, they'll explain their methodology on the corresponding websites. But basically, is they look at each university applying the same set of criteria. So they look at, for example, things like contact hours, but also um, for the research evidence framework, for example, they'll look at publications that the university does internationally, how they score, how they're peer reviewed, things like that. So they'll have a certain set of criteria, a specific methodology that they'll then apply across the board to all the universities they're looking at. And for the TEF and the REF, what they do is they award bronze, silver, or gold status, and that comes with its own set of criteria. Again, like I say, you can look that up on their websites. Also, what that means. Most universities also have, will proudly display their badge that they got on their websites, and then you can click on it and see what that really means. What does a TEF silver mean, for example? Okay, here's another question. Are there any standardized tests such as the SAT that are within the UK? Sabina, correct me if I'm wrong, but SAT, no. But then, like we said, for medical studies, for example, there might be something
the BMAT or the UCAT for. But I don't think about the SAT is.
So the SAT is something specifically American.
American, yeah.
But for subject-specific things, there might be standardized tests, or indeed language tests, if English isn't your first language. Do international school students doing English B higher level need IELTS exams? Probably not, but it's always worth checking with the university. So in most cases, that won't be a necessity. But like I say, some universities might have different rules. It also sometimes depends on whether English is your first language or not, how many years you've studied it for. As you say, you're doing it right until the end. Then sometimes universities might waive the need for a test. But again, it's good to check. I'm currently in 7th grade in Germany and also in an IB school. What do I need to have to apply to a UK university, preferably medicine? What do I need to have to apply? Okay, so is that in terms of subjects, I guess? Yeah, so check with the universities you're interested in. Like I say, with medicine, it's probably going to be biology.
And if I just, and chemistry is most important.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult also if when people have the Abitur, but also with the IB that you very often you can't really get all the often 2 or 3 subjects you would need for which are required because they want math as well very often. So as Martin said, it's really important to check with the university. Maybe you have to do an extra course or an assessment test that you can prove that you have the abilities and the required subjects.
Again, on their websites, most universities are very, very good at listing the different requirements, especially for the IB. And if not, give them a ring, ask them. This one's another one for you, I think, Sabina. Does your predicted grade decide whether you can join a university? I've heard that they are really important.
Difficult to say, really. If you have a good predicted grade, probably the chances that you will be considered for what's not
an offer or
an offer and a conditional offer might rise when you already have a excellent predicted grade. But it depends on the university. I mean, of course, they want to see them. Whether they really make a decision on the predicted grade, we cannot actually say. I mean, Martin, how would you?
Well, I mean, obviously, a predicted
It's
grade is an indication,
yeah.
kind of says that on the tin. So the universities will look at that and think, okay, how, say they make a conditional offer of
Yeah.
AAB in the UK currency, but you apply to them with a predicted grade of BCC, then it is very unlikely, and they can already see that you'll make it to that level.
Yeah.
So another thing is also looking at the predicted or at what most universities' requirements are in terms of predicted grades before applying. So basically, don't apply to a university that's in inverted commas out of your league. Most people tend to play this strategically, and your school counselors can advise on that. Is they go for a couple of safe options, and then for a couple of aspirational ones where they think they might be able to stretch it to that level. But if they don't, then they've got the in inverted commas backup safe options. Universities they'd also be happy at, obviously, but they've got them in the back, kind of, and then try and go for something where the requirements might be a little bit higher. I think we have to hurry up a little bit. If we don't get to all of the questions, like I say, see us at the booth. Do most universities require an average grade? If yes, what will be the minimum? Again, look at the websites. It depends on the course, on the university. So to be clear, being a citizen of the EU will make rates in most colleges in the UK cheaper. Not necessarily. It depends on whether the university offers an EU transitional scholarships. Some of them do, and some of them will also still do that next year, but some of them might not. So that's one to look at again at the websites. Is it mandatory to apply for the the health surcharge? If yes, how can I get it reimbursement in case I will not be working in the UK? So, yes, it is necessary because everybody needs to have healthcare covered when they're in the UK, obviously, in case they fall ill. The process of how you can get it reimbursed is quite detailed. I can't explain that now, but basically, if you Google IHS reimbursement, UK government, you'll get to a page, and there it's explained. Basically, you need a European health insurance card and proof that you haven't worked in the UK in your time there. As a UK citizen who's been out the country for years, do I pay home or international fees? Depends on how long you've been out of the country and where you've been. If you've been in the EU or EEA or, for the past 3 years before starting studies, up until 2028, you will be considered as a home student. If not, then not. Again, if you want to discuss that in detail, come and see us at the booth. What's the difference between conditional and unconditional offer? Conditional offer comes with conditions, so you need to reach a certain level of grades in order to be made an offer. An unconditional offer means that they'll take you whatever your grades. What are the tuition fees for international students? Again, look at the websites of the UK universities; they differ. What are the requirements to study music in the UK, namely classical or opera singing? Again, differ from institution to institution, but I'm pretty sure you will have had to have sung before in your life and be able to prove that, maybe be part of a choir and so on. Again, come and talk to us at the booth if you want to know a little bit more about that, but basically also check with the conservatories in the UK for their entry requirements. What tuition fees count for non-EU European countries such as Norway and Iceland? Check the website. They usually are for EU and EEA, but that depends. What's the admission rate for international students for medicine in the UK university? I don't understand that question, so come and see us at the booth. As a dual UK and German citizen, will I pay home fees given the grace period? If you hold a UK passport and you've been in Germany for the past 3 years before you start your studies, then most likely yes. Again, check with the universities and also Student Finance England or the equivalent bodies in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, depending on where you want to go. And lastly, for computer science courses in the UK, what are the usual required high-level subjects and what are the minimum grades for these subjects? Depends on the university. Talk to them. There's over 30 UK universities part of the fair today. They'll all, or most of them will offer some kind of computer science course. So use your time, talk to them, and they'll be able to tell you what subjects you'll need. Is there a noticeable variation between levels of fees in England, Scotland, and Wales for UK citizens? Well, for UK citizens, there's a fee cap at currently, what is it, Sabina? 9,700 275, that's it. pounds. And not all universities charge up until the cap. Some might be cheaper. Again, shop around, look at the website. And this is Bruno coming in to tell me to stop, because we'll now see a little bit of a little video to explain to you how you access the fair and how you come and see people at their booths. And we'll be, like I say, very happy to see you and talk to you there as well. Thank you. No video?
Okay, great. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for the introduction. We'll be screening the video right now for students who aren't really familiar with the platform. And I'll be back just to give a couple of recommendations. It'll be quick since the fair is probably starting. So I'll get to the video right now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bruno. So Sabine and I will be saying goodbye now, and thank you for your attention, and we'll see you at the booth if you want to come and talk to us or chat with us about anything to do with studying in the UK. Over to you, Bruno.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Thanks, Sabine and Martin. That was a great presentation. I'll just be running over some recommendations regarding the fair. So first of all, don't forget that university reps are real people and not chatbots, and they are very keen to talk to students and to answer your questions, because the main purpose of the fair is for you to talk directly to universities. Don't forget as well that you can save your information and you'll be able to access it after the event in the virtual backpack. A link to access it will be available to you within 24 hours. You won't need to remember all of your conversations as you'll be receiving a copy of all one-to-one communications with university representatives. And so you can compare answers to the questions that you've asked. Remember as well that your percentage match is based solely on the information you have given us when selecting your preferences during registration. Also, gather useful questions to ask. So if you have an idea of what you want to ask, it's helpful to ask universities the same question and compare their responses. In case you send a university representative a message and you do not hear back straight away, it is probably because they're dealing with many student queries. So you can always leave the booth and continue to browse the fair, and they will receive a pop-up notification when they receive a response, so you get a response from the university rep. If they click on your notification, it will take them back to the booth and then back to your conversation. So it'll be a great way for you to talk directly to university reps. Anyway, my name is Bruno. I represent Nova Technology, and I hope all students get a good presentation. So thanks. Have a nice day. Oh, and head to the booth. Head to the Nova Fair. Okay. Have a nice day. Bye bye.